Okay. What should the county do to ensure the new FEMA flood maps are corrected for all of the unincorporated areas of Palm Beach County?
Well, I'm going to start with it. I know it's not right here, but South Bay is really taking the brunt of this. I think that we need to be loud and even louder and louder. I mean, South Bay right now is going to see the highest increases in the county because the Army Corps of Engineers hasn't done its job in repairing the dike out there. So their rates are going up because the federal government's not doing its job. So we need to stay active. We need to complain. We need to work with our federal partners. I have a great relationship with the federal partners because I've actually worked for some of them. The other thing, the legislature this year offered up an opportunity to develop its own state flood insurance program so that we can have some competition and not have to rely on the national flood insurance program. So I think looking at some alternatives and supporting those might be, something that we should do. But basically, my promise to you is that I would be your commissioner that provides that voice to the federal government to say, hey, enough is enough, and make sure that those FEMA maps are drawn to scientific standards and not just arbitrarily drawn.
I attended the FEMA flood map tutorial in Belle Glade. It was great. There was no line out there. And what I learned, aside from the FEMA flood maps, that Wellington had gone and done their own study and things changed. So it's really important to verify and check what's done. But I went and had an opportunity to go to different stations, and one of the ones I went to was the Army Corps of Engineers. If anybody is familiar with, they too were going to do their own tutorial a while back, but about a week before they were going to do their tutorial, they canceled it. So I asked their representative at the FEMA flood map meeting, who was from the Army Corps of Engineers, hey, wait a second, you were going to have your own tutorial and presentation, but all of a sudden it was canceled at the last minute. What happened? And the person mentioned to me, well, we had done our research and found out we didn't have consistent information. So we needed to pull back before we present to the public. And then I asked the gentleman if his information was consistent or inconsistent with the FEMA flood map information. And this was the gentleman in charge of PR there at this meeting, and he said, oh, I don't know. So we need to make sure that these different agencies are consistent with each other and what's the issue, but that's something further to look into as well.
I haven't attended a FEMA tutorial. I attended meeting after meeting out in Canal Point at the Civic Center. I attended meeting after meeting in the county commissions through the years. To understand why the statement can be made the federal government isn't doing their job, you have to understand what that means to do their job. The federal government relies on a 1 to 5 system. 1 is a problem, 5 is a tremendous immediate problem. As soon as the federal government puts money towards a project, which is the Herbert Hoover Dike, as soon as it gets to from a 5 down to a 4, money goes somewhere else in the country. Therefore, you cannot keep the lake at the higher levels because 4 is still pretty bad. So you have to understand every time progress is made, money goes somewhere else. By having the lake at an artificially low level, the FEMA maps were having the lake at normal levels. Well, normal levels would mean we'd have prosperity out in the lake because you can't have any of the Bass Angler Sportsman Society or the other types of organizations having their having their sports tournaments. Lane 2, Route 2 can't allow shipping to go from, meaning any boat traffic of any size, to go through the Okeechobee waterway, across the lake, and down the Caloosahatchee River. So you have to understand the reason that we are getting hit is because we have artificially high levels, which were the historical levels of the lake, compared to the realistically low levels where the lake is. And in the unforeseeable future, there's no idea. Commissioner Bert Aronson said to the general in charge, sir, just tell us how much it's going to cost. There's never been a cost estimation on what it's going to take to put a 110-foot wall down 107 miles around the lake. There's no plan to finish that. So in the foreseeable future, what we need to do is, again, band together with everybody in the county and make sure they understand that the lake isn't going to return to those levels. The Kissimmee River Basin, with 3 or 4 inches of rain, puts 1 foot into that lake. So the powers to be keep the lake at an artificially low level, because if they get another 14, 15 inches, that's 3, 4, 5 feet down here in our lake. So we have to understand exactly why the lake is where it is.
Thank you. The final question, before we do a summary, is how do you justify accepting campaign contributions from anyone who will be seeking any land use and zoning changes for increased density?
I think it's really important if we don't have those conflicts, don't have those issues. So it's a lot easier just to not accept those things, and there's not a conflict of interest, and nobody's going to question whether or not there is. Better to have peace of mind than have any possible hint or speculation or have people say things and just not even deal with that as an issue.
It's real easy. Look at my campaign finance reports. 0 PACs, 0 developers, 0 special interests, 0 special interest by my own family, 0 special interest from 18 states, 0 special interest from Washington. I have 1 PAC. It's an individual lady who started her own PAC against Common Core. I think I have a $100 check from it. That's it. Myself, I have 15,434 as of this afternoon, individual unique hits to my website. Cost $0 to me so far. In the primary election, nearly $420,000 or more because you can't tell with the facts, was spent to get 7,600 votes. Everybody out here is worth $60 to somebody in a PAC or somebody who's looking for that vote. It's real easy. I am what I am on my own with all of you. I am not controlled or beholden to any special interest, and there isn't a dime from any developer in my, quote, war chest.
I would like to remind one of my opponents that her father is one of the biggest developers this county has ever seen, and so to take campaign contributions from that in particular person, family or not, just show that you do have some special interest involvement. I have taken campaign contributions because I'm not in a financial position to self-fund my campaign, nor is my family in a position to fund my campaign. I've taken contributions from everybody across the spectrum. That doesn't mean I'm beholden to anybody. I'm not beholden to anybody. People that have an interest in this district for a long time have not felt that they've even had the door open to allow them to come in and have discussions with their county commissioner. The only thing I've told anybody is that I will be fair, I will be honest, and I will give everybody a chance to tell me what their opinion is on an issue, whether you're an individual, a business, a child, a senior, it doesn't matter. Everybody has access if I'm your county commissioner, whether you contributed to me or not. And unfortunately, in this day and age, it does take a financial account to run a campaign. That's just the way that it is. I have followed every rule of the law. And like I said, I'm going to be an open, honest, door open, everybody sit around the table kind of commissioner. So thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to do it backwards this time for our 3-minute summary for each candidate. Give us a 3-minute summary, and you choose 3. You choose what you would like to speak on.
Okay. I'm running for all the right reasons, because I care. I spent the last 6.5 years in almost every county meeting I could attend or watch on TV, because I care. This isn't a 300% increase in pay for me to take this job. It'd be a cut in pay, because I care. This community has been wonderful to me. My business deals with almost every of the 50 states in Puerto Rico. I have plenty of spare time because of the billing way my job works. I do 50% of my customers' business in the first 5 days of the month. I do another 40% around the 15th. That's why I've been able to sit in every meeting. It's very hard to sit here and hear a couple of things. The only candidate who's raising a family, I have a family. It's not my natural born child, but for 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, I'm helping making decisions every single day in my household. But that's not a reason to vote for me. The other part about, okay, I went to work. I busted my backside. I got scars all over my hands, my back, and my brain to prove I built my business by myself. And because I have literally a couple of dollars to put in my campaign, I can't stand here and say I can't live on $8,000 a month and it's tough to make ends meet. I am somebody that says I care, I have a proven track record. Do you realize that the biggest budget expense is not the sheriff's department? The biggest expense is $688 million of the mass burn facility that we're all paying for. Can you imagine the very first day that one of my opponents walks in to make a ruling on $688 million at the Solid Waste Authority will be the first day they were ever in the room? I did everything backwards, apparently. I learned, I educated, I cared. Then I'm politicking. I didn't politic first and then try to get an education on your dime and your time and effort. You need to realize that the very first day you're sworn into office, 15 minutes later, 2 minutes later, whatever it happens to be, you're going to be making decisions on issues that have been in front of the board either for the first time or years before. Wouldn't it be great when there's a $4 billion budget to have somebody that knows how to manage money? I've done it for 27 years on other people's money. I don't have any foreclosures. I'm not upside down on my car. I don't have any of the normal things that you would say show that you're not capable of $4 billion a year management, because you can't fire somebody for 4 years. I ask you to look at a personal resume of each and every one of us. If you are doing the hiring, and you are, which of the candidates has the knowledge, the background, and the experience at the county where they can represent you, and which of the candidates is going to have to get an education on your dime? My name is Andy Schaller. The election is November 4th. I ask you for your support and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having each one of us here today. As you can see, we're all very different. And I think that's fantastic, that you have choices. You have choices. I always encourage anybody who wants to run, run. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing that all of us have choices. Maybe something I say resonates with you, maybe something that one of my fellow candidates says resonates with you, but we always want to have choices in our input. I'm committed to focusing on two things. One is protecting our quality of life, and two is having honest government and an independent inspector general. By protecting our quality of life, I am committed to not just listening to the people and what they want, but following what the majority of the people want. Earlier this week, I had the question posed to me, but what if the majority of the people are wrong, Michelle, and they disagree with you? And I thought, that's a great question, and I've thought about that. If that happens, it is my duty and responsibility as a county commissioner to pull for my leadership and educator skills. For the last many years, as a prosecutor and now having my own business, creating my curriculum, training FBI agents and other local law enforcement across the nation, I've had to educate people. I think it's important to listen to the people. What are their objections and address them? Perhaps there's information that is missing. We've got to have constant communication. The things I'm also committed to are continuing the monthly forums that are currently being held only in District 6 to keep people educated. Having transparent meetings with developers and builders, so anytime there's a meeting, it's just not the commissioner and the builder and developer, but you're invited as well. It's going to be posted on the internet, and we'll hold it where anybody can come. If you can't come because you're sick, because you have kids, you don't have reliable transportation, but you want to be involved in this process, we're going to have it available to you as well through live video streaming, or you can get the video through the internet. So it will be totally transparent. If anybody's ever had to have child care or pet care, etc., if you've ever looked at places, there are some places that offer live video streaming with a webcam of what's going on, and it just makes you feel more comfortable knowing that you have the option to look and peek in as to what's going on in the process. We're going to combat it on every end, front end through education and involvement in the community in the process, and if people do not follow what the majority of the people want, on the back end, we're going to help get the people involved by making it easy access, providing tutorials as to the hot topics so that they know what the issues are. Because a lot of people don't have all the time in the world, aren't able to attend meetings that are during the week. If you're a school teacher, you're teaching kids, you can't come to the county meetings, which are during the week, during business hours. So the key is communication and involvement from all sides.
I think we might have some sunshine law violations if we worked that way. And I'm also happy to say that I won't be the first. I've actually been in the Solid Waste Authority meetings and spoke out in clear opposition to citing the landfill out on Southern Boulevard. And several other meetings. But anyhow, I I thank you all tonight for actually taking an interest in your local elections. A lot of people forget, they think of the White House and Congress, and that's the important reason, or the governor's race, but everything that happens locally. I'm in this race because I'm a normal person like you. I've had some ups and downs, some struggles, raising 3 teenagers on my own right now. I get it. I get life in the real world. I get that every decision that we make affects your pocketbook because it affects mine. I get those day-to-day struggles of balancing the checkbook at home and making decisions over, a summer camp or grocery bills or doctor's bills. I mean, I understand that. So I am running because I think that perspective has been missing on the county commission. If elected, I would be the youngest person, and I would also be the only person on the commission that has children that they're raising in the community. I also think that this district would benefit extensively from somebody that has relationships in Tallahassee and in Washington to help leverage our local tax dollars so that burden doesn't fall all on your property tax, that we can bring back some money to this district and work in partnership with our federal and state partners. I'm proud that I have the support of our firefighters and of our police officers. I'm proud to have the support of our working families and our business community, of a majority of our elected officials, about 61 endorsements in total. And I'm proud that I've been on the ground, knocking on the doors, working the community. I don't attend county commission meetings and sit in the chambers because as a county employee, I'm not allowed to unless I have an item on the agenda. Instead, I'm actually out in the community, meeting with people in the community, sitting on advisory boards for juvenile justice, healthcare, homelessness, the issues that affect the real people in our community. And I've been an instrumental part with a great team, advocacy team up in Tallahassee, bringing back money for roads, for water, and for workforce development, which has got to be a priority for District 6. So thank you all so much for coming out here tonight, and I just hope that everybody gets out and votes and that y'all register because today was the deadline. But anyhow, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. That concludes the Palm Beach County Commissioners District 6 race.